advice out of fear that they may not execute it properly. Are you sinful for not forbidding the evil because of this?
Question says, some people don't give advice because they're fearful out of not executing it properly. So do you get a sin if you don't do it based off of this? If there's advice that's needed, it has to be given, or the enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, then you have to do it. If you're not going to execute it properly, then get someone else to do it. Write it down. Send a message. Do something. Try. To walk off and totally avoid saying anything, and it's clearly obligatory upon you, shar'an. You're legislatively required to say something, and of course you're sinful. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he never rejected the message that Allah gave him. He asked Allah to take the knots out of his tongue so I can speak clearly and fluently, strongly. But he was going to do it regardless. Everyone understand this? So therefore, you may not be the best, but the best is not always what's needed. Everyone doesn't need an eloquent lecture or some type of fluent speech. Basic, simple advice. I don't think it's a good idea. Khalas. I didn't say it's haram, I know the hadith, the Sheikh Albani, this, I don't know all of that. I just don't think it's a good idea as your brother. Tayyib, jazakallah khairan. We may differ. I don't agree with you, but you gave me advice. I appreciate it, I respect that. That's all. Or point to someone else. Maybe he can help you out in this situation. Or at least ask the question, are you sure that's permissible? Al-Muhim, say something. Say what? Say something. A long, drawn out essay, Ibn Taymiyyah like essay is not always what's needed. And Allah knows best. That's my opinion.
Harris M from Manchester, UK. Would you recommend to memorize Ad-Durar al-Bahiyya, the first 2 chapters?
Question come from Manchester. Would you recommend someone to memorize Ad-Durar al-Bahiyya, the first 2 chapters? FYI, Ad-Durar al-Bahiyya is a book fil Masail al-Fiqhiyya. It's a summarized beginner's fiqh manual by Imam al-Shawkani rahimahullah. One of the best books written on fiqh in that style. Short, concise, accurate, and sharp. Of course, I would recommend that you memorize that book. And not just the first 2 chapters, but the whole book. The whole book, inshallah. Allah knows best.
What book would you recommend that highlights Allah's 99 names?
What book would I recommend that highlights Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's 99 names? There are many books. If you want a simple summarized book, I would say Fiqh al-Asma al-Husna, Dr. Abdul Razak Ibn Abdul Muhsin al-Abad al-Badr. And there's also a mukhtasar to it as well. And I believe the book is in English. Obviously, there are other books such as Al-Qawaid al-Muthla of Sheikh Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah. And that book is in English as well. I would say if you have the ability to come across the speech of Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim regarding Allah's names and His attributes, then Allah is no doubt. That's solid gold. Allah knows best.
IS from Minnesota, United States. Assalamu alaikum. I have a big problem continuing practicing the deen for years, 1 month on, 1 month off.
Where does the question come from?
Minnesota.
Question says, I have a problem practicing in religion 1 month on, 1 month off. Alhamdulillah. At least you have the 1 month on. If you fall 7 times, then get up 8 times. That's what they say. Keep getting up. Keep fighting. Don't quit. Don't give up. Inna Allah yuhibbu tawabin wa yuhibbu al-mutatahhirin. Allah loves those who make constant tawbah. Tawabin. They make constant repentance. إن تكونوا صالحين فإنه كان للأوابين غفورا. Allah says if you're righteous, Allah Azza wa Jalla is all forgiving for the awabin, those who keep going back to Allah Azza wa Jalla. So if you fall 7 times, get up 8 times. That's the rule. Everyone understand this? And every time that you fall and you get up and you dust yourself off, think about not how or where you fell, but think about how you slipped. What caused you to fall? What led up to that inconsistent month? You didn't pray the whole month. Waliyadhu billah. Refuge sought in Allah from that. Or you didn't cover for an entire month. Or you made zina. You went back to smoking or drinking or interest or whatever haram act you do. Huh? What is the cause behind that? Oftentimes people that make sins because they're stressed out. They're stressed. They may be exhausted. They may be depressed. Nah? So you have to avoid being stressed. Avoid being depressed. Some people, they fall into sins because they have nothing else to do with their time. So you have to make for yourself a hobby. Some positive thing to learn, to practice, even if it's not religious. Why could that? Your company, your environment. You have to figure out what is causing you to be off and on like this. And until you figure that out, or even if you have figured it out, but you just can't do it, you're not strong enough to remain consistent, then keep doing it. Allah knows best.
Initials OS from CC Hills, Illinois. If a sister goes to an all-female college and covers it with good bad and top, but has some male professors, is it permissible for her to do presentations in front of the class for assignments in which the male professor will look at her, or is this considered displaying himself?
Question says, if a sister goes to an all-female college, but there is a male professor or two, she wears niqab, she wears gloves, she covers herself, but she has to do a presentation in front of a male professor. Is that permissible, or is that considered to be her revealing herself, etc.? Tell you, it's a no and it's a yes answer. From one aspect, no. If you're covered, then you're covered. You walk outside of the house and there are men. You get on the train, you drive your car, your husband, whatever, there's always men in the world. What's important is that you cover yourself properly. So a Muslim sister who walks down the street is going to be seen by men. Muslim men or non-Muslim men, no matter how good you cover. You can wear all black from toe to top, or tip to toe, or top to toe, huh? Whatever, however you want to wear it. Gloves, screen, photo, and everything else. Someone is going to see you. No matter how many clothes you wear, they're going to see that you're a tall sister, or you're a short sister. That you can't hide that. I would understand that, and that's not what the Quran and the Sunnah says. That you can never ever be seen by men. Which many sisters and brothers, they think this. They what? They think this, and that's pure ignorance. What's important is that when you are seen, you're covered properly. So if you're standing in front of your professor, or your professor sees you and you're covered properly, whatever is included in that word, properly. Your hands and your face aren't covered, whatever you consider to be what? Proper. Then that's the ruling. It's not haram. It's permissible to go to the market, to buy, to sell. It's permissible. That has nothing to do with the issue of free mixing between sexes in college. That's a different issue now. I understand the difference? And I think that the average person, he's going to answer the question based off of the second issue. Hada khata. That's wrong. We're not talking about what, Harun? Free mixing. We didn't get into that yet. We're talking about a non-mahram man looking at this woman, or vice versa. Everyone understand? If you're covered properly, then you're what? You're covered properly. If you consider that the voice of a woman is not an aura, then it's no worry. You're standing in front of the class, you're covered properly, whatever that includes. There are different understandings of the ulama, what is proper and what is improper. Everyone understand this? You're not perfuming your voice, you're not flirting or staring or lusting. You're doing a presentation. There's nothing wrong with that Islamically. You're not alone with the man, your other sisters, brothers, whatever. Free mixing is a different issue of discussion. If you consider a male teacher in the classroom to be free mixing, and that's haram, then it's impermissible, even if they're all sisters and one male. If you consider it that it's not free mixing, or it's a free mixing that is permissible, as long as the people, they're lowering their gaze, they're not lusting off of each other, and making eye contact with someone or looking at someone doesn't mean that you're lusting. It doesn't mean that you're lusting off that person. There's a difference. People are dressed properly, respectfully, staying objective doesn't mean that they're lusting off of each other. Everyone understand this? So it's going to be based off of what is your understanding of al-ikhtilat, bayn al-jinsayn. What's meant by free mixing between two sexes. If you consider the sheer presence of one sex with another sex in a room or place free mixing, then it's haram, if that's what you consider. If you consider it permissible or it's a necessity, no one is sitting with each other alone, then it's what? Nothing wrong with it. Everyone understand this or not? Regardless whether you have one male professor or whether there are boys in the classroom. Everybody understand this or not? And Allah knows best.
Initially, KJ from Bowie, Maryland. Sheikh Mufti, how do you correctly use Allah's tawassul?
The question comes from Bowie, Maryland. How to properly make tawassul with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's important is Allah Azza wa Jal, He commanded us to seek the wasila. Seek the wasila to Allah Azza wa Jal. And fighting His cause hard in order for us to be successful. Allah mentions this in the Quran and Kareem. So therefore, the wasila is a means, a bridge, a conduit, something that leads to a destination, a place. Allah's good pleasure, nearness to Allah, Jannah. I'm going to make for myself a road, a means to get there. And the road is going to be simple and smooth, clear to tread. Whether that's prayer, whether that's jihad fi sabilillah, kind treatment of my parents, iman, etc. Are you understand this? So that's the basic concept of al-wasila. You understand this? A deeper meaning of the word wasila is a special request that you have for Allah Azza wa Jalla. A special request. A special request. In which you're in a very difficult situation and you're asking Allah like you always ask Him, but you're asking Him in a more intimate, intense manner. Like the story of the 3 men that were trapped in the cave. They were in a very difficult situation. And they knew that they were doomed by their normal conventional means. Their strength could not remove that boulder from the mouth of the cave. Are you understand this? No matter how strong they were, it couldn't move. That's natural and that's conventional. They didn't have no gunpowder or TNT or dynamite. They were stuck. And obviously they knew it wasn't so long that they would remain alive. They would lose air, food, water, etc. They would die. So they knew that they needed something unconventional to get them out of that cave. So they sat down after the man said to them, nothing will save you except for your righteous deeds. And they thought about the most righteous thing that they have performed. The biggest, best deed that shows and manifests the highest level of ikhlas. And the greatest jihad against one's nafs. Like we explained in the khutbah a couple weeks ago. That the man loved the woman. And in most cases, the woman, in most cases, what? Beautiful. Everybody with me or not? You guys here? In most cases, she was what? She was beautiful. And he gave her the money. After she refused him, she asked him for money. She needed to take care of her family. And he sat upon her and lay upon her nakedness. I sat like a man would sit upon a woman. And then at the last second, she said, what? No, don't do it. Don't violate me. Ittaqillah. So he got up and he left the money. How much strength did that take, Harun? It's a great deal of power and control of your nafs to walk away from that situation like that. And he left the money there. You understand this? The man with his children that were crying and screaming at night, his parents, he didn't give them the milk until his parents woke up, right? The man who came back and took all of the money, all of the property that he had invested. He says, don't make fun of me. Just give me what you owe me. He says, everything that you see is what? Your money. I invested it. And he said, take it. That takes a great deal of what? Strength. So they called upon Allah Azza wa Jal via the best deeds that they could think about. And those which prove the highest level of sincerity and jihadul nafs. It is a tremendous, profound prophetic narration. When we talk about fighting yourself, we mention the word easily, but it's not. It's easier said than done. Controlling you, winning the battle with your what? With your nafs, and stifling your ego. It's easier said than what? Than done. So therefore, that's one way. Also, asking a righteous Muslim to make dua for you. Someone who you deem to be righteous, who's living, not dead. Someone who's alive, and someone who can hear you, and someone who's present, not far away. Everyone understand this or not? You can't call upon your sheikh in West Africa unless you're on the phone. That's a different story. Make dua for me. That's a different story. But you can't say, yeah, sheikh, because he has a special power to hear me from across The Atlantic Ocean. But he said, Abu Sa'id, you're where? You're in Jannah what? As we speak. Huh? La ilaha illallah. Allahumma musta'an. What's important is that these are the main types of the permissible wasila. Wasila with your righteous, with your iman, first and foremost. Wasila with your righteous deeds. As long as they were sincere, asking Allah to help you out if they were done for His sake. And wasila through the dua of someone whom you deem to be righteous. However, the third type is not to be abused. As most people abuse it. Make dua for me, make dua for me, make dua for me. Can you make dua for me? Make dua to Allah yourself. There's nothing wrong with asking a Muslim to pray for you, but it's not to be what? Abused. And which a person gets like a Christian and say, Father, pray for my sins. Right? Catholics, they do this and they believe that this Jesuit or this man of God has a closer and higher voice with God. And you're a sinner and you can't call upon God. La, that's not the belief of Islam. Everybody clear on this or not? That's not what? It's not the belief of al-Islam. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, when the Sahaba were saying, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, they were calling, making dua to Allah, supplicating to Allah. And they were raising their voices. He said, Arabiyu ala anfusikum. He says, take it easy. Relax. إِنَّ الَّذِي تَدْعُونَهُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَىٰ أَحَدِكُم مِّنْ عُنُقِ رَاحِلَتِهِ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. He says, the one whom you're calling upon is closer to you than the neck of his riding beast. The neck of your horse, and you're on a horse. How close is the neck to you? So Allah is closer to the servant than that. Call upon Allah yourself, even if you're a sinner. Everybody clear on this or not? So this is the correct way of making tawassul. Seeking it from someone who's dead, or someone who can't hear, or ask someone something that only Allah has the ability to do is impermissible. And it's either going to be bid'ah, or it's either going to be shirk. And Allah knows best.
If part of someone's college scholarship requires them to go to certain events, and some of those are sports, is it permissible to go even though the players may be dressed improperly?
Question comes from Illinois. You said Illinois? With regards to if a person goes to school, and part of going to school is that you have to go to certain events and outings in which people may be playing sports and may be dressed improperly. Is it permissible to go? Whether I say yes or no, with my limited knowledge, the most I can do, or anyone, is to put a Band-Aid on a broken, fractured bone. It's permissible to go, it's impermissible to go. What about college? Is it even permissible to go to college in which you are sitting with non-mahram people, you're being indoctrinated by the non-Muslims? Can you even play sports on a team in which you have to go out and eat and drink and establish a relationship with your teammates, morale, and pray together and celebrate? These are my friends, these are my buddies. This is well known. You can't be one on the field if you're not what? One off the field. That's well known. That's what coaches, they have their players what? Do certain things together. Let alone you know someone's habits, you know someone's nature, you trust someone, you love someone, you respect someone. So sports and the culture of sports, the culture of fraternities, colleges, sororities, all of these things, it's a big problem. And where do they come from? The Spartans, the Romans, the Greeks, who are homosexuals, boy lovers, rapists, murderers, plunderers, atheists, people who rejected and denied the existence of Allah or made shirk with Allah. That's where all of this stuff comes from. So you have to be mindful of this culture. The concept of the Muslims' belief regarding college and a degree. And that if I go to college and get a degree, I'm automatically going to have a job. It's automatic happiness. If my son goes to school, he's successful. And if my son doesn't go to school, then he's a loser. It's what most fathers think and feel today about their children. They take thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt to get a degree, to get a piece of paper. And in most cases, they don't even do anything with it. They don't even utilize it. And they spend years paying off those debts. There are many other problems, in college. We're in the Poconos, right? What did the young brother say? He probably was from Egypt in most cases. He said, how? And no matter what I said, nothing would make sense to him. He says, what do you mean? Go grab the bull, but watch out for the horns. Women are uncovered wearing shorts. That's what he said. How can a Muslim youth survive? How can he go into the jaws of the alligator and say, don't get bit? It's almost impossible. So college in itself is a long discussion. I'm not saying that college is haram. I'm not saying that. I don't believe that college is absolutely haram. Are there haram things? Are there different issues and problems? No one can deny that. We've mentioned a few. Everyone understand this? So therefore, if you're going to the college and you have to go to some type of event, then people who are playing sports, they're going to be meeting problems. Covering their awrah, not praying, drinking alcohol, unnecessary, impermissible type of free mixing, etc. What's important is if you have to go, and if you have to take the lesser of the two harms, and you have to finish the degree, to get good occupation, to get married, to obey your parents, or whatever the case is, then just go and try to stay away from the haram things the best way you know how. Try to avoid the haram things the best way you can. At least hate it in your heart. And drinking alcohol is bad. It's not okay to drink beer. At least have that in your heart. And don't say, well, it's okay, you know. They're not killing nobody. They're not raping nobody. It's hard to have a girlfriend. It's clean, pure love. He loves her. She loves him. What's the big deal? No. As the Prophet ﷺ says, if you don't hate it in your heart, then there's nothing after that. There's no iman after that. Huh? So the weakest, lowest level of faith is just to hate it in your heart. So at least know and keep your identity as a Muslim. And obviously this is theoretical. It sounds easy, but how can you go and be a part of that and that not happen? Huh? So only the strong survive. There's no doubt about that. Only the what? Only the strong survive, huh? And as one man said, a wise man said, the weak deserve to what? To perish. Allahumma musta'an. You got to be strong, going to college, living in America, 2018. It's not easy. Being a young Muslim youth. Peer pressure. Tattoos. Smoking weed. Going to house parties, drinking. Sleeping with girls. Homosexuality. Islam. Islamophobia. Jihad. Terrorism. Al-wala wal-bara. Can we say the Jews and the Christians are our enemies? We hate the Jews and the Christians. They're not our friends. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Only the strong what? Will survive. And the weak will be swallowed whole by this dunya. La ilaha illallah. May Allah protect our Muslim youth from being swallowed whole by this beast. Khair, inshallah, we'll stop here tonight. Allah Azza wa Jalla surely knows best what's correct. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad.